Okay, so I watched this video on Side Patreon about a discussion between Captain Tazaryach, Kataza, both of ISUPK, and brother Jabari. I watched this video a while back, but I just rewatched it, I guess you could say, again earlier today, and I just wanted to give some commentary on particular topics that they brought up. Not so much as to say one of those brothers was right or wrong. I'm really not trying to critique them specifically, but I'm more or less just trying to use their conversation as a springboard into the conversation about those topics, or about certain topics that they touched on that I have an opinion about myself. So the first thing that they talked about that I want to touch on, I don't really want to make this too long, was the Gab thing. And without trying to have to go into too much detail, I'm gonna just show y'all the particular picture that was being discussed. Now, I'm getting this picture out of the Comedic Tree of Life by Muwada Ashby on page 260. Now, it's a picture like this. It's part of some type of comedic relief that's supposed to represent Gab. And Gab being representative of the earth. Now, the Hebrews, Katazai and Captain Tazaryach, they were basically saying that it was homosexual and it was weird, right? And Jabari was saying that it was not homosexual and it was not weird. It was a higher teaching that was implied that had to be understood. Now, my opinion on that is that okay, is not homosexual, because the definition of homosexual is basically like same gender sexual interaction, like male on male, female on female. That's homosexual. Excuse me. Excuse me. That's homosexual behavior. Now, the weird aspect, man. I'm gonna be honest. I believe that the image itself is used to explain something. Like if they're saying that that's the earth, right? I do believe that Geb represents the earth. Okay. And I agree that it's talking about exactly what Jabari was saying that it was talking about. But the image that they used, would I use that image? No, of course not. Do I think that it was weird that they used that image? Yeah. Does it get the point across? Yeah, but I'm not gonna say that I would use that image myself. I think the best thing to do is just like what Jabari did, but take a step further. Just say, hey, okay, this is what this means. This is what this means. But yeah, I agree. They may have could have said that in a different manner, and it wouldn't appear weird or strange or odd that they use that particular image. Okay, fair enough. But I personally think they use that image because the story came before the image. If I'm already talking about a higher principle, which I said I agree with Jabari that it's all talking about a higher principle, especially if Gab represents the earth. There could not have been people before the earth. So if he represents the earth itself, we're talking about a form that's not even a human form at all. So it can't be doing anything human like if Gab represents the earth. So the higher meaning I get. You have to understand that that's there. But the individual who is explaining that higher meaning, that higher teaching, they have already anthropomorphized it, right? To try to explain it to people. So now as the myth builds, because you get more understanding about these phenomenon, right? And so when you get more understanding about these phenomenon, if it is a higher teaching, then that character has to have progressions of life and additions to the story and interactions with other characters within the story as your understanding of that higher teaching evolves. Okay, you will already be locked into a necessity to explain it picture wise with the human being, because you have already established Gab as a human being. So then when you come up with the necessity to talk about the creation that's expressed with that image, you have to do it from human terms. If you already said he was a human, you can't really use a tree, because it's already established that Gab not a tree. He's not a cloud. He's not a mountain. He's a human. So you continue to tell the story the best way you can with the facts that you have already laid out. With the facts of the story that you have already laid out, and that was laid out maybe by predecessors, but sticking with the original storyline that this is who Gab is. Okay. So that's that. I think. So the next thing I wanted to touch on was when they talked about the maxims of Ptahhotep, right? They talked about the maxims of Ptahhotep, and the Hebrews, Captain Tazaryach and Tazaryach, were saying that it was misogynistic because there was a particular maxim in the maxim of Ptahhotep that said, keep your wife from power and to control her or to restrain her. And they were saying that was misogynistic. That was the same thing that they teach. And Jabari was saying that that's not what that means. That means keep her away from the judge, do not have her divorce you. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's a nice point. Let me look into it, because I actually have several different translations of the maxims of Ptahhotep. So I said, let me read the different translations that I happen to have and see if they agree with Tazaryach or with Jabari. So one of the ones I had, the Teachings of Ptahhotep, the oldest book in the world. Asa G. Hilliard the third, Larry Williams, and Neil Damali, right? Okay. When I went into this one, right, page 26, when it gives that part that they read, it said, do not contend with her in the courts. Keep her from the need to resort to outside powers. Her eye is her storm when she gazes. It is by such treatment that she will be compelled to stay in your house. Now that's interesting, because this one agrees with Jabari, right? Because it said, it's translated, keep her from the need to resort to outside powers. That's what they were talking about. And right before that, it says, do not contend with her in the courts. And what Jabari said the powers was the judge, this would sound like it's saying that, right? And so I have another one. This one is Penguin Classics Writings from Ancient Egypt, translated with an introduction by Toby Wilkinson, right? Page 265. Okay, so this one, it says, let me see. Do not judge her. Keep her from power. Subjugate her. Her eyes tempestuous when she scrutinizes. She will be made to stay in your house. Then it says, now this is key. Listen to this extra part. If you restrain her, a woman left to her own devices is like water. When she is argumentative, make a trough for her. Right? Three more lines that were not in the one that I just read out of that other book. And this one has a notation to where you can, go 3 or 4 more pages, and it gives you some more insight on where it says keep her from power, subjugate her. And it says that it right there, it goes drastically from a loving, matter of fact, let me just read it, 14, to where it want to give you, extra insight on what they're talking about there. It says there is an abrupt change of advice from caring to dominating. So it's saying at that point that is sounding very dominating. Definitely agreeing with Tazaryach and Captain Tazaryach, the Hebrews. And so I had one more, Ancient Egyptian Literature, Volume 1, Miriam Litcham. Okay, page 69. And this one was translated to say, do not contend with her in court. keep her from power, restrain her. It says what Tazaryach said that it says, do not contend with her in court, keep her from power, restrain her. In my opinion, it does kind of sound like that it's saying, um, 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 keep her away from the judge. That's what it sounds like to me, basically. Um, but the thing about this one is, after it says that, it says her eyes are storm when she gazes. Thus will you make her stay in your house. Now after that is the three lines that's in the Toby Wilkinson, the one I just read. Now in this one, it just gives you dot 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 dot, and it gives you a note to read 38, right? Like another notation to give you some more clarity, right? And in this one, it says the final three sentences are very obscure, meaning what they read in the other one in Toby Wilkinson, those last three sentences, they're very obscure. So where did he get it from to even put it in there? You see? And so that makes that one kind of sketchy anyway. And then that's the one that did totally agree with the Hebrews. It kind of makes the one that agreed with them kind of like, eh. But you can make up your own mind. Those are the various translations. And so the other thing I wanted to talk about was the whole Abraham and Sarah, and the Sarah being Abraham's sister, right? Are they brother and sister? Well, when I first heard it, I thought to myself, man, Tazaryach tripping. It clearly says that they are brother and sister. But when I was listening to the argument and I was hearing the spin that Tazaryach was putting on it, I was like, huh, I see how he's trying to bring that in, But I also understand Jabari's point of view that Abraham says that that's his sister. Now you saying that he lied about it. Now I'm gonna show where even after he lied, he comes back and say that even though he lied, he was still telling the truth, right? But I did want to look into it a little bit deeper to see if there was any other references to them being brother and sister, to just to try to see who was right and who was wrong. So the first thing that I want to go to is the family tree, right? I want to show y'all something. Now this is found in Genesis 11. Let me see. Genesis 11, 27 through 30. I'm gonna read it out, and this is basically what we're talking about. Now these are the descendants of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldees. Abram and Nahor took wives. Okay. The name of Abram's wife was Sarah. The name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran. So Milcah, the wife of Nahor, was Haran's daughter. Okay. The father of Milcah and Ishka. So Haran had 3 kids: Milcah, Ishka, and Lot. Right? That's what he had. So it does not mention Sarah as being a child of Haran or even a child of anybody. Okay? So that's first. So now we have to ask, so where did the idea that Sarah and Abraham were brother and sister actually come from? And if you watch the video that I'm talking about, you know that basically they was referring to basically 2 instances. One where Abraham went into Egypt, and one where I forget the name of the land that he went into, but I believe he was talking to the king of Abimelech. We're gonna go into it in a second, and I'm gonna look and I'm gonna check. But basically, when going to this place, Abraham told Sarah to tell the people that she was his sister, because if they knew that she was his wife, that she was so beautiful that they would kill him so they could take her and have her. But if he said that that was his sister, okay, then they wouldn't kill him to take her. But if they knew that that was his wife and him being her husband, they would have to kill him to take her because she was so beautiful. So it was a way to save him alive. So whenever they went into the city, Pharaoh took her because she was so beautiful, but she didn't kill her brother. Okay, and something would happen, and God will put plagues on that king, that Pharaoh, and Abimelech, and same story kind of parallel, and God will come to them, or the vision will come to them and tell them that, hey, you took somebody's wife, either you return the wife to them, or else, it's gonna be plagues on your house, right? So they would, I didn't know that this was the man's wife. They returned Sarah unto Abraham. But when he was talking to Abimelech, right, in Genesis 20, chapter 20, verse 12, is when he this is what Abraham says, right? Well, no, I'm gonna go a little bit before that. I'm gonna start at verse 10. Okay, and Abimelech said to Abraham, "What were you thinking of that you did this thing? Why did you lie to me and say that this was your sister?" Right? Abraham said, "I did it because I thought there is no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife." So he says, yeah, I lied about it because I didn't want to get hurt. But besides, she is indeed my sister. So even after he lied, then he got caught in the lie. And when he was confronted, he was like, oh, this is why I lied. But anyway, though, it was a lie, but it wasn't a lie because she is indeed my sister, the daughter of my father, blah, 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 blah. That's what he said. So it's almost like, okay, yeah, I understand what Tazaryach and Tazaryach was saying, what the Hebrews were saying, but okay, he told her to say this. It was a lie. He get busted in a lie. The dude confronted him. Why did you lie? He tell him, this is why I lied, because I didn't want to be killed for the sake of her. But indeed, though she really is my sister anyway. I just didn't tell you that she was actually my wife. I just said she was my sister. Let's just tell him that much. So that's what it is. Right? So it really wasn't like telling a lie. It was more like an omission. He told the truth. He said it was his sister, but he didn't say that it was his wife. But I also looked into to see if Josephus talked about it. And what's odd about it, because notice, before I go on to Josephus, notice that Abraham's brother Nahor, his wife Milcah, is Haran's daughter, right? So you have three brothers, Abraham, Haran, Nahor. One of the brothers, Haran, has a daughter named Milcah. Now the other brother marries Milcah. Milcah is his niece. And think about it. Haran is Lot's father. Lot is the same one that goes off with Abraham, right? Abraham, he went to he went and kicked some butt, blah 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 blah, over Lot. Lot was the one that was in Sodom, etc., etc. So he was the one that went off with Abraham, right? Now Haran, the brother of Abraham, had one other daughter, Ishka, right? Now, in Josephus makes it appear, or in Josephus you get the idea that Sarah and Ishka is the same exact person, as in Haran had three kids, Milcah, Lot, Ishka. He died, right? So Nahor take one of the daughters for the wife, Abraham take the other daughter for the wife, and Abraham also take the son with him, and they go off, as in they took, had to carry on the lineage of the brother. They took the wives, right? And so Josephus he plainly says that. So what the Bible says that they were brother and sister, Josephus comes out and says that they were it was uncle and niece, which kind of makes sense when you look at it, because we're gonna go into the strong concordance here in a second, right before we wrap up, and I'm gonna show you how Ishka might be Sarah. Okay, all right. So Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews. Let me see, page 32. Page 32. All right. Yeah. Right here. Okay. So he says, now Abram had two brethren, Nahor and Haran. Of these, Haran left a son, Lot, as also Sarah and Milcah his daughters, and died among the Chaldeans in a city of the Chaldeans called Ur, and his monument is shown to this day. These married their nieces. Nahor married Milcah, and Abram married Sarah. Now, instead of saying Lot, Milcah, and Ishka, Josephus says Lot, Milcah, and Sarah. And he says that Nahor married Milcah and Abel married Sarah. Right? Straight up. And so when I looked into the Strong Concordance, and now when you look up Ishka in the Strong Concordance, right? It says, it tells you it's a daughter of Lot, but it also says see Sarah. Like, man, I want you to be able to see this. I hope that light ain't blocking it. It says see Sarah. See that? Strong Concordance 3252. See also Sarah. So just add that to the conversation. Thank you for watching the video. Hotel.